In this lesson, I want to expand a little bit more on some of the new tags we have with HTML5 to set up the page content. Now let's go back to our sample content page again. If you don't still have it open, you can open it up into Working Files Section 2 Basics folder. To get things started, I want to arrange our content a little bit differently. First, I'll just remove headings 2 through 6, leaving us just with the main heading up here at the top of the page. And then I'd like to copy that heading and go down below the second paragraph and paste it there. When we see the content grouped like this, we can imagine that the first two paragraphs would be about one topic, and the second two paragraphs would be about another. As we saw in the last lesson, in HTML5, we can set up some tags so that the content structure will also be clear to the device that's rendering it. These new tags let us mark up the content so that it's clear in the code what parts of the document go together to form a complete idea of the story the page is intended to tell. In this sample page, with our new arrangement of the text, the different headings can be used to imply that the first set of paragraphs would form one idea, and the second set with its own heading could be a second idea. The first tag I'd like to try out is the section tag, and we'll use that to group the content which includes items on the page that go together. I'll go up to the top of the page, and just before the first heading, I'll add a section tag. Now down at the end of the second paragraph, I'll close that section tag. And then we'll do that again for the second heading and the other two paragraphs. Let's go ahead and save those changes. And we'll go back out to our browser and refresh. And here we can see the grouping of our paragraphs. We've got one heading with several lines of text and another heading. With the default HTML styles, these two tags don't really change the visible appearance of the page at all. But now all browsing devices will clearly understand that these two groups of information are separate. We'll see in a later lesson how we can use these tags to also control the visual appearance. But one example of a perceivable difference for this page might be that a screen reader would add a slightly longer pause in between these two sections to indicate a new topic of discussion. Now there are a few more of these semantic tags that you can use on your pages to add more meaning to the content, so let's try out a couple more. As we said, the section tag can be used whenever you have content that's related and you want to group it together. When you have a section of content that can stand alone by itself, separated from the rest of the page, you can instead use the article tag. It tells the device or search engine that this content can be used by itself without needing to reference any of the other sections of the page. This can be helpful in setting up a page so that a news feeder can pull content in and know that it's not losing any important parts. For our example, I'll just change the section tag on the bottom section to an article tag. And of course, the close tag needs to match it. Now, if you have some content on the page that addresses a side topic, you can use the aside tag to indicate that the content is extra and it's not necessary for inclusion in the topic to be complete. I'll go to this close article tag and I'll cut it from the page and paste it below the first of the paragraphs in that article. And let's mark up the bottom paragraph as an aside. And we'll set up the close tag too. Again, this tag using the default styles does not affect the way the page looks in the browser. But there are some semantic tags that can be used that have a different default visual style and function. One of those is the block quote tag. It's typically used when you want to mark something clearly as a quotation from someone. To try this out, I'll go into our aside and I'll replace the paragraph tags and use a block quote tag instead. We'll change the ending tag as well. And then let's just save our changes and go back out to the browser. This time when I refresh the page, you can see that the bottom paragraph does change. It has indents on both sides of the paragraph, which sets that paragraph out as different from the other text that's on the page. So now, we've used some basic paragraph and heading tags to set up our page content to make it more readable, and also semantic tags we can use to add more meaning for both our human viewers as well as search engines. Again, all these tags can be used to alter the visible style as well, and we'll see that in a later lesson. But for now, we can see that it's important to mark up the content so that it can be clearly understood by devices, screen readers, and search engines. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to mark up other kinds of text content that we need alongside of our sections, paragraphs, and headings.